Yo, what's good, guys? We are back at it again with another MLB The Show 25 video for you guys, and today we have our first tier list of the year. Every outfielder that I would consider playing. Could be secondaries, could be out of position. So hopefully you guys enjoy. If this does help you make lineups, win more games, I would urge you to like and subscribe because we're going to be running it up all year. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a new look on Showzone, which is interesting. Um, Live series Aaron Judge, S tier. I think the gold might have a better swing, to be honest. I'm not sure if they have the same swing or not, but I have liked the gold more when I've used them. That being said, statistically, this is one of the best hitters in the game. If you put the bat on the ball with good timing, it's going to be a home run more times than not. And he's going to play up most days because it's Aaron Judge. So gold Judge, I think chills out in like very high B tier, like middling A tier. Good swing, if not even better than the diamond. And then, you're looking at still like 70 contact, 90 something power as a gold card that everybody can go get within like 5 minutes of playing the game. So very solid card there, especially for a budget. Soriano, just not a fan, and we're going to have to look up our first one here. Not a huge fan of how Showzone has redone their site, but let's see, attributes. So that's quite the adventure. 61, 81, 85. So he's actually somewhat respectable against lefties. Has like inverse splits where he's got more contact against one side, more power against the other. He is a pretty good fielder, but are you really, putting a pretty decent fielder with a not great swing out there? When you could run guys like PCA, Max Clark, Dylan Cruz, guys that have a pretty good swing, and then play just disgusting defense, kind of makes cards like Soriano a little irrelevant. McCutchen, I'm going to put him C tier also. Hurts my heart. I wanted to use this card, and the swing is still really good, but he is just absolutely terrible in right field. You think Aaron Judge is bad in right field. You think Ronald Acuna is bad in right field. Use McCutchen because he still gets the bad jump. He still is really slow. And then he might have the worst arm I've seen all year. So I am not a huge fan of running this card. I feel like you at least need arm strength if you're going to be a poor defender. And he just doesn't really have any of it. Definitely a better offensive card than the Soriano, but just defensively, he is absolutely putrid. Santander. This is a tricky one. I think he's probably A tier to where like his bat's going to be crazy. I think we can all agree this is one of the best gold cards we've ever had. He is an absolute stud, but he's also going to be absolutely terrible in left field. So I think if this was like a first base tier list, which we'll get to it, S tier. But as far as he also has to play defense, and it's a secondary, or it is a primary position for him, but he's just not really an outfielder the way that like Judge is. I think he's A tier, but I think he has way more value at first base. Speak of the devil, this is another guy that just has way more value at first base. At first base, probably S tier. In the outfield, not one of my favorite guys in the world here. I wonder if this will just, okay, might be a slightly quicker way to do it. So 99, 78, 83, 97. Very good, like average power and contacts. And then he's honestly not awful in the field for this point of the year, but he's also not great. So I think A tier is right. I think this is another card where if he was a first baseman, we'd be talking about like S tier potential. But just in the outfield, not going to be the best. Bobby Abreu, I think he's the definition of like a B tier card. Just super well rounded, just not really great at anything. He shows on has him as the like 18th ranked guy. Just mediocre contact left, good contact right, really bad power left, mediocre power right. And then he's not awful in the field, and he's not super fast or super slow. He's just a middle of the pack card, which is good for an evolution if you just get on the game and you want to evolve this card, or if you want to use one of the new legends added. then he's good for that. But ultimately, as far as like competitively, not the best card in the world. Rooker. I'm gonna need to refresh myself on just how bad defensively he is. I was thinking of maybe like D tier for DHs, because there's a lot of outfielders that I wouldn't necessarily want to play in the field, but at DH you can make an argument for 58 speed, really bad fielding, really bad reaction, but that's most cards at this point, especially for a gold card. 83, 80, 190, one of the best budget options in the game right now. I think he's A tier, honestly. Like, if you want to argue that he's just the left field version, or I guess he is a right fielder, but you got a lot of the same guys. They're just all Spider-Man meme right here. They all look the exact same. Byron. I think B tier for Byron. He is good. But personally, used him last night, facing some like away sliders on All Star with 56 clutch. You get some ridiculously small PCIs that should not be possible on All Star difficulty with him. So I think that detracts from him. Defensively, he's great, but if I'm just gonna run a defensive outfielder, like I've already tipped my hand here. I have guys I like a lot more than like this guy. So this is the best card in the game right now, and it probably will be the best card in the game until we get close to finest, I would imagine. And even then, once you have him super fractured, probably still gonna have an argument. Not really much to talk about. Switch hitter, good quirks, crazy stats at this point, and just one of the better collection rewards I think we've seen, to be honest. And then we have his gold card, which is quite poor. I think he's probably D tier, honestly. If you just want to use Beltran, and this card has like really high clutch and high contact against one side, but he is a absolute cripple in the outfield. He's got like 40 speed, so this is nowhere close to like his Mets card. But if you just want to use him, he's all right. He's a switch hitting outfielder, can't be bad. Christian Moore, I think he's like C tier. Honestly, I mean, you could make an argument that he is B tier and he is just that much better than this McCutchen, because the swing is really nice. He has nice all around power, and he's not absolutely terrible in the outfield. So if you want to argue B tier, I would have some leniency there with Christian Moore, but I don't think it's anybody we need to harp on too much. Cody Bellinger, I put B tier. He has a really good clutch, which helps him a lot because he has bad contact against one side, and it's Cody Bellinger. Like, his swing is just always butter. So if you want a lefty power bat in your lineup that plays honestly not a terrible outfield, Cody B's your guy. Corbin Carroll, probably D tier. His stats are just really underwhelming. If you want a speedy, fast outfielder, I think there's better options, other ways that I would go, other than the guy who has like no power and honestly isn't even that good defensively. Relative to every other card, he is pretty good defensively, but like, relative to like Max Clark and guys like that, might as well just run them. So Don Baylor, haven't really done my research on him. So they have number 1 in left, number 2 at first. Okay. His quirks look a little lacking. So he's absolutely terrible against righties, which is interesting. But lefties, he mashes. So this will probably be a bench or 59 clutch. Ooh. Wow, that is brutal. Good speed, though. So it's going to make up for his fielding not being the best. Um, mm, that's. I mean, there's aspects of this card that are S tier, and then there's parts of them that make him B tier. So I think that's going to average out to an A tier. It's almost like a platoon outfielder that you're starting in a game that doesn't have a lot of good lefty starters that you're going to see at this current point. And then his clutch is also absolutely brutal. So I don't know. A tier might be very generous for him, but we'll see. Dylan Cruz, I think he's just an upgraded version of Byron Buxton. I haven't used him a ton. If he has the same swing he has had, then he's still going to be good. But just, yeah, I mean, 73, 75, 72, 67. Pretty good fielding, pretty good speed, but just mid at like everything, to be honest. And he's not even that crazy defensively. I think he's very similar to Byron Buxton, and his clutch is going to be better. So if that's your tiebreaker, knock yourself out. But I think they both have their issues. Honestly, Elly for me, A tier. He's, you know, kind of tough against lefties, and you might be like, why is Elly on here? You can play him in center field. His fielding goes on like 78. His reaction goes like 68. And he just has a really nice swing. Does struggle against lefties, I will be honest, but 99 arm in center field with 99 speed. Can't go wrong with it. He's an absolute stud in center field. I've ran him at center field. He's very comparable to like the World Series Mickey Mantle in center field. So have enjoyed him so far. I think Tatis is probably A tier. Maybe you could make the argument for S tier. Just gotta look at his stats a little more, see just how good he is defensively. So 70, 80, 63, 82. Already knew that. He does have some very nice quirks this year. I think his swing's even better this year. And you're talking about 82 reaction, 80 fielding, 99 arm strength with 72 speed. I think that's knocking on the S tier. It just kind of depends on what you want. If you want the more well-balanced, good defensive card, Tatis. If you just want somebody that rakes, that should probably be a DH. Aaron Judge is probably your guy as far as primary right fielders go. Gary. Just like Brent Rooker's probably better than this Gary Sheffield, to be honest. I want Gary to be great because I feel like he hasn't really gotten a good card in a while. Really good quirks. 66 contact left, 79, 82, 77, just mid. And then his fielding's going to be terrible with 63, 56. He's like a better defensive Brent Rooker, which is already a bad defender, and then his bat's not going to be as good. So I think A tier is probably where he belongs. This Hank Aaron, I absolutely hate this card. Pulled him night one, out of a chase back. Cool, awesome. Couldn't wait to use him. Thought the quirks would carry him. Thought the swing would carry him. Just really bad numbers all around. If you're playing Legend right now, if you're playing GOAT, maybe he has an argument, but in general, if you're on lower difficulties, I just can't see using like a low power guy like this. Don't think he's awesome. Jackson Merrill, just don't really see a world where you would use him. Just doesn't seem like that. He's like an upgraded Corbin Carroll that plays center field. I think there's just way better options. It's just hard for me to really justify using like a lot of these cards down here when you have just way better cards. James Wood, very similar to like Cody Bellinger, more power for sure. I'm assuming he'll be a little worse in the field. You can see 83, 86, 63, 81, 65 fielding, 50 reaction, 83 speed. So the speed will make up for the reaction a little bit. He's still not going to be awesome out there. But I think this like B tier is more or less where he belongs without having like crazy quirks and stuff. If you really like the swing, you can probably get him up to A tier. But I just don't think he's really at the quality of those A tier cards. Jiren Durant, I think I probably have him like top of B tier. Kind of like a Buxton that you can translate more into Hall of Fame and stuff. Kind of like just a cheap Dylan Cruz that honestly might be better than Dylan Cruz. So do like Durant. You know, I don't think he stacks up with a lot of these top tier guys, but you can definitely win games with him. Jason, honestly, I'm gonna put him like bottom of A tier. I was looking at this card. I don't know why more people aren't using him. He looks really solid, I think. 56 contact left, not great. 50 power left, not great. But he is a switch hitter with a good swing, and he's actually pretty decent defensively with 64 reaction, 70 speed, and then good arm strength. But he just absolutely mashes against righties in a meta where I feel like you're seeing a ton of righties, and he has high clutch, which offsets the contact left. Really not a bad card at all, and it's a switch hitting outfielder, which is kind of hard to find this early on. I think the Martian needs to be talked about a little more. I think he is probably bottom A tier because those just stats against lefties are pretty bad. But a lot of people are running like Max Clark out there, who's hitting lefty lefty with like 84-50 splits. It's not that much different with Jason Dominguez. Maybe when you get to Hall of Fame, legend, GOAT, stuff like that, he would be more unusable. But as of right now, I think he's a card that needs a little more recognition. Jim Edmonds, probably C tier. Like the power's good, the contact's not great. The fielding in theory is good, but he's just really slow, so he doesn't cover too much ground. The clutch, like the clutch is really bad. We're talking about a Byron Buxton level of clutch here on a diamond card. Just not awesome. And trust me, I'm somebody that wants Jim Edmonds to be great, but I think I'd rather use Cody Bellinger. Altuve, honestly, Altuve's bat looks really good. It reminds me of McCutchen, where you're getting a guy that honestly, offensively, will be a pretty good card. But then defensively, he's absolutely terrible. 51, 53, 44 arm strength in right field or left field is absolutely brutal. So offensively, I think he can hang. I think he's going to be just as good, if not better, than like this Dylan Cruz, Hank Aaron, Bobby Abreu. But then defensively, you might as well just not even have a left fielder. J Ram, probably put him very top of like A tier, bordering on S tier. It just depends. I have not used him personally in left field. But my kind of theory without a position cards is if historically they've played it as a secondary in the past, I feel like they'll be pretty solid there this year. So like Jose Ramirez in left, Ketel, Marte in a lot of outfield spots. Feels fine. Feels like it doesn't necessarily cost you games. It feels like they are just as bad as any other bad defensive outfielder will be. Jose De Paula, really good budget card. I think you get him through running Conquest, I believe. Showing me cards from last year. That's crazy. 80, 78, 70, 85, with 60 fielding, 56 speed. So a nice little budget card that you can work into the lineup. I don't think he's going to transition super well to high online play, obviously, but a good budget card. Juan Soto, him, one of the best lefty swings every single year. Has breaking ball and dead red this year, and just in general has really good hitting stats. If you can get him on a day like today where he's playing up against lefties, it's over. It's over. Like you have one of the best hitters in the game right there. And then he's honestly respectable in the field. J-Rod, I think he's like very top of B tier. Doesn't have the craziest defensive stats, but he is really fast. And then they gave him a better swing, but his hitting stats still aren't great. So he's almost like a right-handed Max Clark in a way. Clark's going to play slightly better defense. I think Julio probably has a better swing. But if you want to use him, if you really like his swing, I can see the argument for it this year. King Griffey, I think he's just kind of a B-tier card. You play him in a corner spot, it won't be bad. He's very good against righties, pretty mid against lefties, but he has really good quirks. And at the end of the day, it's King Griffey. He's going to play crazy no matter what. One of the better gold team affinity cards. I think you could run him to a degree in ranked for a while if you really wanted to. Ketel, I've been running him in left or second base personally. In left, he doesn't feel bad at all. Like he gets more or less good reactions. I've never seen him drop a ball. I've seen the Manny Ramirez program boss drop a line drive that hit him in the face. So that just kind of sets the standard for who people are playing in left field right now. Ketel Marte's better than a lot of them, even though it doesn't say that he can play that position. So I think that's worth noting. Christian Campbell plays every single position on the field. And honestly, for a while, you'll be good with this card. The problem is going to be his clutch. I believe he has like 74 clutch, which is serviceable up until probably some like early to late Hall of Fame games. But then after you get past that, you're probably going to have to move off of him with 73 clutch. Everything else looks awesome, and it's nice that he can play basically every single position. in a year where not a lot of guys can, but the clutch kind of holds them back a little bit, which no cards are going to be perfect at this point. You're going to be sacrificing something. Schwarber, probably A tier. With Schwarber, you're sacrificing defense and just contact for some of the most absurd power in the game. Until you get to like legend or GOAT, he's probably chilling in your lineup somewhere, even if it is like an 8th spot or something. Definitely one of the better like Team Affinity cards. Kyle Tucker, I'm putting in A tier. Kind of miserable defensively, but has a really good swing. I believe he has some okay quirks as well. So you can see dead red here. And then 79, 81, 77, 90 with 99 clutch. Super nice to have clutch like that at this point of the year. 51 reaction, bronze shield. No, that's a silver shield actually. I don't know why Showzone shows that as bronze. And then 33 speed. So really he turns like an army tank in the outfield. So that's going to be his problem. More times than not, I'd say he'll get okay reactions to the ball and just be too slow to get there. But also it feels like speed isn't the craziest thing this year. Larry Walker, this is probably a C tier card. I think he's just a platoon bat right now. You can probably get away with running him a good amount just because there are a ton of like 3/4 of the games you load into in ranked right now, you're probably going to be facing a righty pitcher. So if you wanted to just start Larry Walker and then have like a more well-rounded guy to platoon if it is a lefty, that is definitely an avenue you could go down. 102, 82 against righties. Always is going to have good quirks because Larry Walker, you can see dead red and breaking ball hitter. And you could chain him with Jim Edmonds, but Jim Edmonds would have to give him a good amount of clutch, which I don't know if captains give clutch right now because really nobody's running captains. They kind of kill captains. Manny, I guess he makes S tier with an asterisk. Like he has the really long dreads that freeze some people's games, or not freeze, but it pushes your console to the limit somehow. And defensively, he is quite poor, but he has a nice swing. He has some nice hitting stats. It's just a matter of the dreads. Maybe they'll have to like edit his player model and just remove dreads from the game in general. Who knows? But statistically, he's up there. Matt Holliday, a card that I'm never really a huge fan of. But statistically, this card looks pretty good. Am I crazy? Is it Matthew Holliday? Like, I don't know. There we go. So dead red, breaking ball, 87, 101. The 57 power left is going to be rough. 74 power right, definitely usable. 75 fielding, 74 reaction, 50 speed. So really not bad at all. Not a bad card. I think he might squeak into A tier. He's just not really the hitter you would want him to be, but he's also not nearly as bad defensively as I thought he would be. I think he's kind of similar to like a Don Baylor in some ways, where certain stats are crazy, and then other ones you're just sitting there wondering why he has it. Max Clark, I think I have A tier. It just really depends on what you want. If you want a more defensive outfielder, he might be S tier for you. I think he is in that good middle ground where he's not Pete Crow Armstrong in center field. Like he doesn't get to everything, but at the same time he gets to 95% of what PCA does, and then he's a way better hitter than PCA. I think he has a better swing. I think his stats are just all around better, and I think you can make it happen with Max Clark for a while. So I'm a fan of that card. Michael Harris, kind of in the Jackson Merrill territory where I'm not really sure why you would run him. I think I do prefer him over Merrill just because of the swing. He historically has a very nice swing, but it's just not a card I can see too many people running. Elly, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I think, I think Elly is very close to like this Mickey Mantle that you get from ranked. You can see Mantle sucks against lefties just like Elly does. 86 contact right, 87 power right. That is also similar to Elly. And then Elly is way faster with honestly probably the same reaction and way better arm strength. So I think Just a little tactical downgrade there. Elly is 90% of what this Mickey Mantle is, and he's actually better in some aspects. So I think if you can get Elly with the right inside edge, you can make the argument. Mike Cameron, another card, kind of like Griffey, where it's just one of those better gold cards. Has crazy power. He's not awful defensively. So if you really enjoyed, like, he had a Mariners card and a Padres card last year, I think, that were both pretty good. So if you enjoyed either of those, he's definitely worth a shake. Mike Trout, S tier. Not absolutely putrid defensively like Judge. He's kind of a middle ground in between like running Judge and running like a Tatis or like a Max Clark or somebody in right field, where Trout's gonna be in between them defensively and in between them hitting wise. Like for some people, he may hit better than Judge just because of the swing. But in my opinion, he's going to hit worse than Judge, field better than Judge, and hit way better than like a Max Clark and field quite a bit worse than a Max Clark. So he's just a nice middle tier guy that's just not going to let you down. Is he worth 180K? You know, you go back and forth on that all you want, but he's definitely solid. Mookie, I think he probably makes A tier. I don't think he has the sauce that he had last year. I don't think he's quite as good as he was last year. And then he's just absolutely decrepit and right with a bad arm. So not my favorite card in the world. I don't think he's worth it running him in right. I don't like him at shortstop. There's not a ton of spots that I do like this Mookie Betts card. But he is still solid. So maybe he creeps in the S tier. He's like very borderline. I think I would prefer to run all of these guys ahead of him in the outfield over him, at least until you get to a certain difficulty, because I'm sure his clutch is very nice. Nick Castellanos, worth a shout. He's in a weird spot. Like, he is just the definition of niche. Like, that's exactly what he is. Because he is a platoon bat against lefties that also has bad clutch. So if anybody's on second base or further, you're not using them. So one of the best hitters in the game against lefties, but not if there's somebody on second base. So he's just a super niche guy to have. Felt worth ranking him, but not super worth, having him. Nolan Jones, been saying it for years. One of the best lefty swings in the game. If you haven't tried him, try him. I think all of his hitting stats are between like 70 and 80, and then he's not terrible defensively. So he holds his own. I think he's like, I don't even know how I would necessarily compare him, but it's a pretty easy card to get. It's a card that I bet a lot of people already have because they've already done like Ubaldo Jimenez, or they've used Chase Dollander quite a bit. To where you probably already have him in the Rockies Team Infinity. So if you already have him, give him a shake. Has a lot of secondary positions as well. Absolute stud. Paul O'Neill from doing the Yankees collection. I'm going to assume he's S tier because I think I played a guy that had him. And not that he lit me up or anything, but his stats, I think, look pretty good. I don't know why I have to put all that to get him to pop up. So you can see first pitch hitter, dead red, decent enough. 87, 109, 63, 71, 78 fielding, 75 reaction, 57 speed. So that's definitely worse than I thought. I think he's probably just top of A tier. He's just an upgraded Matt Holliday. I think there were people last year that loved his swing. And if that's you, you'll probably enjoy this card. If you're on Hall of Fame and you're struggling with PCI size, or if you're on Legend or GOAT, I'm sure he has a very nice argument to move up and to become one of the more viable ones. But when you look at the whole scale of the game, people playing on veteran, people playing on all-star, I just don't think he necessarily stacks up with a lot of these other guys right now. PCA, kind of alluded to it earlier, where I like Clark more. I think he just does more for you. But if you just want a pure defensive center fielder, he is there. Preston Wilson, we're not even going to rank because I have no idea. I haven't used the swing. I don't think he looks great statistically, but I also don't want to say the card's trash and then have him have one of the best swings in the game and be like a super good budget option. So I think we'll just not rank him. It will just, incomplete. Same for Reggie Sanders, except I think unless he has the worst swing in the world, that he's like an easy A tier and a good value card to go knock out like the Reds collection. Because statistically, he looks very nice. See if he actually pops up. I could put in Reggie S and we get Reggie Stalker to pop up. That'd be pretty nice. First pitch hitter, breaking ball, 97, 62, 82, 84 with 77 fielding, 76 reaction, 72 speed. So like I said, one of the more well-rounded cards in the Reds collection is not hard to do at all. And I can personally attest that Elly is a very nice card to have. So one of my favorite collections to do. I think he's super solid. Preston needs to go to the bottom here. Roman Anthony looks very solid. I think he's just an A-tier outfielder where doesn't really do anything wrong. He basically, if you look at his card, some stats do get closer to 90, but he basically just has 80 in every single attribute, which is super nice for kind of the scaling of the game right now. So I think he looks like a stud. Maybe not S-tier material, but an absolute stud. Acuna, probably S tier. And then maybe I was harsh on Roman Anthony. Maybe he does move up to S tier by just being a jack of all trades. Brian Braun, get this card away from me. Realistically, I think he's like bottom of A tier, where really good contact. The power's pretty rough. I believe he has really good clutch, and he's not terrible defensively. And I actually like his swing a little more than I have in years past, but still not one of my favorite cards to be using. Slamming Sammy. I believe his contact's pretty bad, if I remember right, but we will pull up a little reminder here. So 102, 68, 85, 99 with 75 clutch, 60 fielding, 62 reaction, 60 speed. So really he's just going to be poor defensively, but he's probably a top of A tier card. Until you get on Hall of Fame and that low contact against one side and not great clutch, absolutely kill the card. He's going to be super good. Very good budget option. That should honestly be in a lot of people's teams because I'm pretty sure he's like 5 to 9K, somewhere in that range. Can't really go wrong with him. I think he's pretty similar to like Seiya Suzuki here, where Seiya is kind of similar to him and Reggie Sanders, where he's just one of the more well-balanced cards, kind of like a Roman Anthony as well. 81, 87, 63, 71, 88 reaction. So one of the better reacting right fielders in the game right now with 75 speed. Can't go wrong with this guy. Has dead red, has a very nice swing. Big fan of this card, especially as a free card. If you don't have a ton of stubs, don't know why he's not on like everybody's team. Steve Finley, I know he has a really good swing. I'm never a huge fan of him, but if you just don't already have a ton of lefties in your lineup, or if you just want to be a degenerate and stack lefties because every starter is like a righty right now, this Finley card is really good. He was I don't know if he was NL West or what. He was a collection reward, I think, the Chipper Jones year, if I'm remembering right. And he was an absolute stud this year. And he's going to be, I think, more of the same this year. Has a nice slap swing, is going to hit home runs for you, and is going to play a decent enough outfield. I think that's kind of what this card is. I think he's a guy that, if you had to just assign a batting average to him, it would be like 240 or something, but he's just going to mash. He's just going to get extra base hits. He's going to hit home runs, and that's just what he does. So I am a fan of this card, and you're getting Ketel Marte for locking in for him. So I think that's two very good outfielders. Another collection that I think is pretty nice to get. Ted Williams, I think B tier, just basically a DH. Not absolutely terrible fielding wise. I don't think his swing is bad by any means. But he just, on paper, he should mash against righties. On paper, he has good quirks. It's a card when I used him, just didn't really have the juice. It is an awesome legend to have. And when he has like a 95 plus diamond, he'll probably be one of the best cards in the game. But as of right now, just don't really see it with him. Teoscar, worth a shout. More of like a niche guy, more of like a platoon guy if your opponent's starting a lefty, or one of the better bench bat options to hit off lefties. So I think he's worth mentioning. And if you just want cards that have a slap swing, then he's there. Travie B. think in the outfield, he's probably A tier. I think he's very similar. He's like a center field Seiya Suzuki kind of, where, not the fastest car in the world, not the greatest fielder, not great power, but just good contact and a good all around card. So, not bad, but it just doesn't tick a lot of the boxes that a lot of these other guys do. Trey Turner, play him in center field. He will be just as good defensively as everybody in this tier, other than Max Clark and maybe Elly. Maybe Elly's a little better just because his base fielding and reactions higher. But just has a butter swing, has some very nice quirks. And Trey Turner's just always like an MLB The Show card. Vlad, I think, is similar to Ted Williams, where if you're building a starter team and you got 5K and you want to go get one of the pre-order bonuses, Vlad's pretty good. Has a nice swing, has some very good quirks. The power's not really there, but Vlad Guerrero, another card that's kind of just an MLB The Show card. Like, he always plays good. Walker Jenkins, I'm not a huge fan of this card. Like, maybe top of B tier, and that might be blasphemous for some people. I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, I'm sticking with it. Top of B tier. Like, Roman Anthony is just way, way better. He is the super upgraded version of Walker Jenkins. Um, Walker's just not fast. He's not a great defender. His contact isn't crazy. His power's not crazy. So I just don't really see it with him personally. You can see 77, 83, 71, 77, 75 reaction, 65 speed. Like, he's just worse Seiya Suzuki, in my opinion. So maybe if you really want to get him to A tier, if you really want to vouch for the card, I'd hear it. But just doesn't really check a lot of the boxes that I would like. So, I mean, if you want to put Don Baylor down there with him, I'm not arguing. Like, if you want to put Brian Braun down there with him, not arguing. Whit Merrifield, I think this is kind of a slept on card. It's not a terrible collection reward card. Like, if somehow you just got Bobby Witt and accidentally collected him, I always misspell his name. Then, I don't even know why I'm like looking. Oh, because Whit Merrifield and Bobby Witt. Let's see what they did there. Like, if you just accidentally collected Bobby Witt somehow and had this card laying around and wanted to use them, it's not a bad card. Objectively, it's not. Very good clutch, super good contact numbers, and very good fielding. The problem is the power. Like, if we were playing in a year where just having no power kind of mattered, he'd be a stud. But just the way MLB The Show plays, even this year with exit velos being down, I feel like it almost makes power more important than usual. And Whit Merrifield's just not that guy. Now and later, Willie Mays, I think he's like B tier. Like, he is fine. Like, honestly, if the day you got him was your first day on the game, you're going to be kind of hard pressed to find a better center fielder. You can see Dead Red and Breaking Ball, 87, 66, 100, 59, 82 clutch, 76 speed, 78 reaction. So definitely a pretty solid center fielder, and the quirks are going to make him honestly play better than his overall even looks like. But not somebody I would necessarily be using if I wanted to win a ton. And then Jordan goes in S tier. Absolutely putrid defensively, and anybody with half a mind is going to play him at DH and not in the outfield. But if you absolutely had to, his bat's going to make up for it. He's going to generate enough runs to where it will offset how bad he is defensively. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully it wasn't the longest tier list in the world. I think it also does not show you in between the tiers now when you save it. Love that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this is helping you kind of structure your lineups a little more. Try some out of position players, stuff like that. Get a little quirky with it. So, till next time, hopefully you guys enjoyed.